are some new questions about the man who was in charge of special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. The Washington Post reporting Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein walked a thin line between protecting Mueller and appeasing the president. Last September, the New York Times broke the bombshell story that Rosenstein suggested wearing a wire to secretly record Trump and talked about the 25th Amendment after Trump fired FBI Director James Comey. Well, the Post reports Rosenstein tried to defuse the situation and assured the president that he was on his team, telling Trump, "I give the investigation credibility, and I can land the plane." 9 days after the release of the redacted Mueller report, President Trump's victory lap continues. The president escalating his attacks on Mueller and the Russia investigation. The same investigation, of course, that he simultaneously claimed exonerated him of any wrongdoing. Trump gave his first interview since the release of the report, calling into Fox News for a lengthy on-air chat with his friend and ardent defender, Sean Hannity, reigniting his deep state conspiracy theory.
It was like a one-sided witch hunt, as I called it. And, Bob Mueller, I turned him down to run the FBI. The next day he was appointed to be the head of this special counsel. Really, it's a coup. It's spying. It's everything that you can imagine. But the nice part is, as far as Trump is concerned and the Trump administration, there's no collusion and there's no obstruction.
And without offering any evidence to support that claim, he continued to repeat it yesterday to an equally friendly crowd of the National Rifle Association members.
Corruption at the highest level, a disgrace. Spying, surveillance, trying for an overthrow. And we caught them. They tried for a coup. Didn't work out so well. And I didn't need a gun for that one, did I?
And while he may not have needed a gun, but he does need a fact check, because while Trump claims that he is a victim and the target of a hoax, the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein on multiple occasions told Trump he was not a target of Mueller's investigation. And yesterday, his FBI Director, Chris Wray, put the ongoing effort by Russia to interfere in our democracy in perspective.
The fairly aggressive campaign that we saw in 2016 and that's described in the special counsel's report and that has continued pretty much unabated, we're very much viewing 2018 as just kind of a dress rehearsal for the big show in 2020.
Many people thought 2016 was the big show. So a lot to get into. Let's start right there. Glenn, I saw you nodding after we were talking about what Rosenstein supposedly said about landing the plane. Why?
You know, when I read that yesterday, Candace, I was reminded of one of my favorite sayings by Abraham Lincoln. Be sure to plant your feet in the right place, then stand firm. Nobody can accuse Rod Rosenstein of planting his feet in the right place and standing firm. This is a man who was so concerned that in a one-on-one conversation with President Trump, Trump could not be counted on to accurately portray what went on in that conversation. And Rosenstein was so concerned about that. He's like, you know what? If I'm going to talk to the president one-on-one, maybe I should wear a wire, which I think was smart because we've all seen it play out. Comey has a conversation with the president. Comey takes contemporaneous notes. He comes out and he tells accurately and truthfully what went on. And then the president lies through his teeth. So I think Rosenstein was well advised to contemplate wearing a wire if he was going to talk privately with the president. And then now we know he's talking about, you know what, Mr. President, I'm on your team. I can land the plane for you. So this shows, it exposes Rod Rosenstein for who he is. I think he's worse than just an opportunist. I think he's somebody who has no conviction and no principles.
I mean, you're nodding on that. Why?
Yeah, I think this White House is all about survival. It's almost like Game of Thrones in this White House and who can outlast the other. It's fascinating to me to watch some of these people flip around. And now you see all this stuff with Kellyanne Conway being an ardent supporter, but her husband is anti-Trump, thinks he's deranged. Yeah. So, I mean, you see all of these storylines. Omarosa becomes a dog, in his words. There's just so many things where, like, these people put their careers on the line for this White House, which I don't know why any sane person would do that. And then you see something like this. And obviously the guy's going to want to wear a wire. I mean, to your point, everyone gets fired or someone gets blamed. Someone's the scapegoat for things that Trump does and says. And that is the number one problem there.
knew that this Mueller commission wouldn't find anything. We were the best to give an answer on that. Russia knows full well that it didn't interfere in any elections in the U.S. The groups that are mounting an offensive against the legitimately elected president are simply, as a matter of fact, trying to cancel the vote.
The Russian President Vladimir Putin echoing President Trump there in dismissing the Mueller report and denying Russia's election meddling. Mueller's report was blasted this week on Russian state-owned television, and the attack sounded like one we've heard right there from 1600 Pennsylvania.
Robert Mueller's report is out, and it's already a bestseller. Perhaps the 448 pages will put to rest the poisoning of the Trump presidency for nearly 2 years now by U.S. media, an attempt to force the president out of office by impeachment. It's no surprise that Mueller claims Russia meddled in the American election. That was, after all, the point of the investigation from the start. Why would you admit that the entire Washington establishment has been consumed by a total hoax? The Russian embassy in Washington has released a rebuttal to the Mueller report. It details the hysterical coverage of the Mueller probe by the American press. The examples are in the thousands. Strangely, Mueller punted when it comes to Trump. He says while the report does not conclude the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate him. So Trump is not accused, but he is guilty. A strange decision by a prosecutor. Meanwhile, Democrats on Capitol Hill remain shy when it comes to impeachment. Having been burned on claims of collusion, they fear they would go down in flames if they tried to impeach the president.
Well, thanks to our Russian translator and producer, Sino, there. And there you have it, Russia's take on Mueller's investigation. Kind of sounds like the explanation we get back here.
Tonight, Washington's on edge over how far President Trump will take his tough talk on defying Congress and subpoenas. Trump's history does show lots of bluffing that led to folding. Remember the Trump University fraud case?